Spokane Valley could become a sanctuary city of a different
Councilman
kind.
Caleb Collier says that this
I'm proposing that the city of Spokane Valley issue a proclamation stating that our city is a Second Amendment sanctuary city.
Welcome to the fire.
Today on Church and State Freedom Fest, speakers Amity, Dolby, and Sam Barton. Hello, Christian Patriots, and welcome to Church and State, where we drive morality and religion over tolerance and apathy. And I'm your host, Caleb Collier, once again, your favorite far-right shock jock, and the show that talks about politics and religion. Jesus Christ is our referee, so it's always nice and clean. Let's go to the website, churchandstate.media. Fill out this form for us. Get our newsletter where we're keeping you in the know, sending you a number of the shows. And also, when you fill this out, you get a personal phone call from yours truly. So if you want to talk to me, there's your opportunity. Also, check out the most recent episodes, continuing with great guests, great speakers, great subjects, topics that, well, a lot of times get you censored. Man, that censorship. You talk about alternative treatments with cancer, and man, the algorithms don't like that, Chris, do they? They get a little angry. Yeah, well, that's what you get on this show anyway. Also, check out the featured guests, incredible people that have joined us over the years. And I love these people. You know, these are some great guests. If you click on their name, it'll take you right to the episode. Some of those are like with Vodi Bakum right there. I was on a sabbatical during that. You'll get to see Gabe. You get to see Gabe and Chris cover that episode.
We should probably take that one down, huh?
No, Chris. Gabe was a part of the show for a very long time. He did great contributions to it. Plus, Vodi Bakum is unfortunately dead now, so we're never going to...
It was a great episode.
It was, yes. So check that one out, all right? And you can watch Gabe. He was much better looking than I am. Chris, you're supposed to disagree with that.
But it's true.
No, you're supposed to say you're good looking in your own right, Caleb. Gabe was prettier, but you're like this rugged, handsome individual.
Making me very uncomfortable right now.
That's what I do on this show. Also, please peruse through the amazing affiliates that we have. We got some great companies that support us, and I personally shop with them. I use a lot of these products, and I want you to as well. So use the promo code or coupon code Church and State. Many of those, it brings a discount. All of them help support us here on the show. And speaking of support, I do need help with the donation button, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta have some more inflow, okay, to be part of Prepper Broadcasting Network and NRBTV and Faith and Freedom Television, newscasters, your news, so many, and then national syndication coming mid-August. I mean, it takes money. It takes money to do it. 5 days a week that I'm coming to you with great information, great guests. And so if you like the show, and I'm talking to all of you that are watching this, I know like $5 or $10 a month is not a lot to ask. But you do realize that if all of you that are watching this show or listening to the show on podcasts, if you did something like that, that has us covered. And that's a lot of money that can come in through $5, which is not going to hurt you. I know that. That's like 1 cup of coffee you're giving up for the month. If you can do that, I greatly appreciate it. So does Chris. Lastly, if you want to get a hold of us, churchandstate1776 at proton.me. And with that, let's go ahead and start this interview. I was at Freedom Fest, as you know, a phenomenal event in Las Vegas. And it had just some of the greatest speakers. And I was able to interview 2 of them on today's episode, Amity Dolby and Sam Barton. They both are just doing incredible things for the cause of liberty. So I hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, this is Caleb Collier with Church and State, and I'm over at Freedom Fest. Got another guest for you. Amity, just messed it up. Dolby. There we go. All right. I apologize. Forgive me for that. But great conversations going on at Freedom Fest. A lot of libertarians. It's kind of funny. I heard somebody complaining that they thought this was a Republican event. No, I'm glad you're here, but definitely not a Republican event. But share us with the audience some of the things that you're engaged in.
Yeah, so I'm a lifetime member of the Libertarian Party. I've been a board member of state and local affiliates over the years. Mostly my political activism spans the topic of the consistent ethic of life. So I promote the idea that human dignity has value from the womb to the tomb. So I talk about the pro-life issue not only being about being anti-abortion, it also means that you should be anti-war, against euthanasia, especially government involvement in mandating it, like we're seeing in Canada and Europe, and anti-capital punishment.
Okay.
So
It's very consistent, honestly, and I want to break that down with you because my goal with a lot of what I'm doing is to get more Christians to see not only the benefits in libertarianism, but that it's actually the natural progression, honestly. So let's break this down. I mean, obviously, starting with pro-life, and this is something that a lot of people take issue with the grander Libertarian Party because there's, in my opinion, some inconsistencies there. That there are some libertarians that believe that abortion should be a right. I love your perspective. That's my perspective as well. That life starts at the womb, and if we're going to be all about liberty and non-aggression principles, well, you're going to start right there in the womb.
absolutely. So I think, life, as you said, starts at conception. It has value as much as the mother, but I come from the perspective of less government involvement in all things. And so what I like to focus on is that women don't feel sometimes that they have choices. That if they find themselves in a crisis pregnancy, their first option would be abortion. And what I like to say is if the government would stay out of our lives more, if they would tax us less, if they would have less regulation on adoption, we would have more money in our pockets. Those of us who want to be more charitable, help mothers in need, we could do that. But also, you see young people starting families later because of the overtaxation and the inflation that has caused this housing crisis and this economic crisis where they feel like they can't afford to have children.
Sure.
And so the first option they go to is abortion. And so if we fix other issues in government, I think more women would feel empowered to start families sooner and have their babies or have other options such as adoption if that wasn't cost prohibitive.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely agree with that. Number one, privatizing it to where abortions are easy, getting the government out of it, the restrictions, the regulations, the red tape. Because I know so many families that want to adopt, and it's thousands upon thousands of dollars to get to that point. So a lot of them give up ultimately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree, and part of that education factor, actually educating women on the dangers of abortion, which is something that Planned Parenthood and their ilk, they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the risks in mental health issues, in cancers even. They don't ever want to talk about that. They just want obviously to perform the abortions.
Absolutely. And abortion is a major risk to women. And when you find yourself in a crisis situation, you're really not thinking of that. You're just thinking of, what do I do today? And so there aren't many options. And, you have places like Planned Parenthood and more on the left will actually try to make it seem like crisis pregnancy centers are being untruthful with women and steering them away from abortion. But that's not the case. They're just helping women to find other options other than killing their child.
Sure. Yeah. So let's move on from there and let's talk about. My fans are probably getting tired of me and the amount of times that I'm going after Donald Trump over another endless and needless war. But this is something that I believe should go well beyond libertarianism. I believe Democrats used to proclaim they were the anti-war party, but now it doesn't matter who you get into office, whether it's Biden, Trump, Obama. I mean, we've been at war since 2001. There's an entire generation that has not known the United States at war. So as a libertarian, as a leader within the libertarians, tell people why, and even as Christians, why we should stop with these foreign wars that we're always engaged in.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the killings is the first and foremost. What really breaks my heart on the right is, you see so many prominent people advocating for life and how important life is, But then when it comes to war, you know, if it's some, you know, brown kid in Gaza, they're like, oh, well, they deserved it. They're just, or it's collateral damage. Or they're going to grow up to be terrorists, so let's just not worry about it. Well, that's not true. You know, we don't punish people for the sins of their parents, for one. And for two, this is devastating countries and communities, not only with people dying, but their infrastructure.
Sure.
Their hospitals, their schools are being bombed. These are human beings. And I don't care what religion someone is, I don't care what their ideals are. God created all human beings and they have inherent dignity. And so I think if we start looking at it with that lens first, then all the other issues that, you know, the government feeds to us as to why war should be justified will kind of fall away. You know, you'll have more people speaking out and saying, hey, these are human lives we're dealing with. These aren't just like, you know, random blobs across the country on, you know, or across the world in a country where we can't even find it on a map. These are human beings. They may have different lifestyle choices or ideals than us or religions than us. But even so, not even all religions, like different religions, excuse me, there are a lot of Christians that are getting caught up in this.
Absolutely.
The Catholic Church, the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza, has been bombed. There are several people who have been injured there. And the nuns were taking the disabled people who were casualties of the war, taking care of them in the auxiliary building of this church, and then it gets bombed. You know, that's just, it's not.
There's actually, the data shows that there are more Christian Palestinians than Christian Jews.
Yeah.
And in the United States, you know, specifically when we're dealing with the issue of Israel, and, you know, I absolutely loathe the, hey, you're either a Zionist or you're anti-Semitic.
Sure.
Like, that's just such a trash argument. But I do see that within the American Christian church, that due to dispensationalism, there's a lot of excuses for Israel when they're violating the sanctity of life.
Sure. And so I'm actually a Protestant convert to Catholicism. And one of the problems I had in my, when I became an adult and started learning on my own as far as scripture and everything, I was in ministry. And the dispensationalism didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if you interpret properly, the church has become a spiritual Israel. And so
It's pretty clear.
you know, a country that was formed in 1948 are not like the God's chosen people that you read about in the Bible.
Yes.
And I have no problem with any ethnicity, any religion. People are free to make the choices to worship how they want to worship. But when it comes to the governmental state of Israel, that is a whole different thing. And people are being led to believe in their churches, unfortunately, that is the God's chosen people of the Bible.
Yes.
And so it brings this like church and state together that just doesn't make sense.
No, I would completely agree. And I actually converted to Lutheranism
Okay.
from more the non-denominational side. And yeah, covenant theology, which is taught within Catholicism. Most mainline Protestant churches as well taught that. The early church fathers, I mean, it's been the teachings for centuries.
Right.
Dispensationalism through Schofield and Garvey, relatively new.
Yeah.
You want to talk about replacement theology? That's the actual replacement theology, is dispensationalism.
Absolutely.
So from there, euthanasia, and this is a big one. And you know, you brought up Canada, and you know, the MAID is absolutely atrocious, but it's also happening in the United States. I'm in Washington State, and they passed the Death with Dignity. And that's kind of that slow roll into that kind of thing. And then ultimately we get to what we see in Canada, where somebody's suffering from depression and the government's response is, well, we should kill you, obviously.
Sure. Right. So I'm more of a philosophical anarchist. And so I don't like seeing government making laws about what people can do with their own body, even though from a, you know, as a Catholic, I disagree with someone using euthanasia. But like you said, when the government starts making laws about it, and especially when we have Medicare and people moving into government-run healthcare, that's when the government steps in and starts making those decisions for you. And if you're beholden to the government for insurance, they may say, well, we're not going to cover your cancer treatment or your Alzheimer's treatment or your depression treatment. Instead, we'd be happy to let you, help you die with dignity in a way that, cuts your life short. Now, my mother has Alzheimer's, and I was her caregiver for 8 years until my sister gave me a break and took over, and she lives with her now. But when she and my father, who had cancer, moved in to my house so that I could help my dad with his cancer treatments, you know, he died peacefully in a hospital bed in my living room. And I would never think that there are countries out there that would have come to me a year and a half earlier and said, well, it's a lost cause, just, here's a pill to let him go now. That concept, I just can't get behind.
Yeah.
So I think it's a slippery slope when the government starts making those decisions. Then they push you into not just allowing it, but coercing it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I would imagine, even though, it was a trying time, I would imagine the time you got to spend with your father was very valuable to you.
Absolutely. And just being able to be there to, help him go through that. He was the caregiver for my mother, who, like I said, has Alzheimer's. And so just being able to step in and be that for them, I couldn't imagine, making a decision to cut that time short.
Sure. Yeah. And the last one that you brought up, and I saved this for the last intentionally because this is the one that people, Christians in particular, might have an issue with, right? And that's, capital punishment.
Sure.
And so I will fully admit I was, for a long time in my life, I was all for it. Like, eye for an eye kind of mentality. But as I've progressed in my libertarianism, I have found myself really more on the side of, I don't think the government should be killing people. Do I understand that there are some very egregious crimes that occurred and that sometimes the family wants that? I get that. But I still think, once again, kind of what you were saying, that is a slippery slope.
So I'll give you some statistics. So in Florida alone, which is where I live, in the last 40 years, 27% of people on death row, their sentences have been overturned because new evidence has come to light and they were found to be innocent. And so if you think about the 70-some% that are left, how many of those really were innocent and their trial wasn't fair? They didn't, the jury decided against them for whatever reason. So we are killing innocent people.
Yeah.
And now I'm not saying that everyone is innocent. Obviously, we have horrible people out there.
Sure.
And so if there's any chance that we're taking an innocent life, it's one too many. And people actually think that the death penalty is cheaper, just killing someone is cheaper than housing them for life, when in fact, it costs the taxpayers less to house someone in general population for their entire life than it does to house them in a special unit on death row with all the appeals process and everything that goes along with it. And so whether it's a economic reason or, for the fact that we might be killing an innocent person, I just don't think that's any risk that we should take.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, our judicial system was established with the idea that it's better for 10 guilty men to go free than for one innocent man to languish in prison. And by that, you can also apply it to the death penalty as well. I mean, if the state is killing anyone that's innocent, boy, we have problems here. And I'm right there with you. Like, I know the numbers, I followed the money. It is more expensive to actually put somebody on death row. And I mean, it leads to a bigger conversation about the prison system as a whole, which is also very, very problematic. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that the United States should be engaging in capital punishment.
Absolutely. So I'm very distrusting of the state. And so, if we're not going to trust them to get things right with, the different bureaucracies that are failing, all the failing systems that we have, I think that someone's life, putting that in the state's hands, is just the most egregious one that we can do.
Sure. I want to ask you one more question, and it's going to be a doozy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm already setting it up. Christian nationalism. This has come on the scene, and there are a lot of people who proudly proclaim themselves Christian nationalists. And once again, being vulnerable with the audience, I was there myself. And I took the two words and separated them. A lot of people are doing it. Yeah, I'm a Christian, and yeah, I'm more of a nationalist. Moved a little bit more away from that as of late, but I'm seeing a lot of problems with Christian nationalism. What about you?
Well, first of all, which version of Christianity do they want the government to impose on the rest of the country? Or which moralities do they want to use to make the laws? The problem with that becomes when someone else gets in power, uh, then their version of religion might be imposed from the state.
Sure.
You never want to advocate for a law to be made that you don't want someone else to use against you.
Completely agreed. And specifically looking at the Christianity, answering your question there, which one's going to be imposed, it seems to me that the vast majority of the Christian nationalists are part of this new apostolic reformation, which in my opinion is an extremely dangerous heresy. But so many of the non-denominational Pentecostal churches are pushing this.
Sure. And I guess the way I see it is I don't like I don't want government imposed collectivism. I want to be free to choose where I worship, how I worship, and I want that for my fellow Americans as well, and really my fellow human beings all over the world. We should have the religious freedom and the free will to worship as we see fit, and I don't need the government involved.
I mean, it seems like a pretty American principle.
Right.
Just going back to the founding fathers, but maybe I digress.
Right.
How do people follow you?
So I am on X at Amity Lead 13, and I am there every day talking about the consistent ethic of life and very often cyberbullying politicians.
Okay. I love it. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Hey, this is Caleb Collier with Church and State over at Freedom Fest. I'm joined by Sam Martin. Right, up there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
You got it.
And you're with Free the People?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Tell us a little bit about your organization.
Yeah, Free the People is a nonprofit. I like to think of us as basically like a libertarian-leaning film production company. We make documentaries about the ideas of liberty. We like to just tell stories, so we're not really about... There's always liberty-related themes in everything that we do, but we like to just tell stories about people making a difference in their community. We don't like to preach. We like everything to be, entertaining and just to find interesting characters and tell stories that are meaningful.
Sure. Yeah. Can you give us a couple of examples of some of the films that you produced?
Yeah, we have a film at the Anthem Film Festival right now, actually called Building Home, and it is a story about Jared, who was homeless. His parents were heroin addicts. He became a heroin addict. He was homeless on Skid Row in Los Angeles and the Tenderloin, San Francisco. He in and out of homelessness, in and out of shelters, for-profit shelters, non-profit shelters, prisons, jails. He got sober multiple times, and then eventually, goes through a program that actually works, that's not government funded, and he gets sober, and now he's studying to become a lawyer, and he's engaged to be married, and his life is totally turned around. So he was a great character for us because he's gone through the whole arc of homelessness. He was homeless. He was a drug addict. He experienced firsthand all the bad government policies in San Francisco and in LA, and so we were able to talk about some of those policies through his story.
Yeah, that's a pretty incredible redemption story.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating about that is, here in California, LA, San Francisco, typically very progressive hotbeds. What facility was able to find that was not, a government program? Because you and I both agree on how well those work.
Yeah.
So what was the facility he went through?
He went through a nonprofit facility in Los Angeles. What was the name? Blanking on the name right now. Cry Help.
Okay.
Is the program that he went through, and lots of celebrities have gone through it actually. But he had a friend who this was the organization that got her clean. So she put in a recommendation to have him, kind of a referral to have him go through that, and it was the exact kind of program that he needed. He had to be sober to be to go through it. In California at the time, and still, they were tying funding to actually, they weren't allowing shelters to acquire sobriety, which is just insane. So all these great nonprofit shelters that were doing really good work, they needed to start to take the government funding, so they weren't allowed to acquire sobriety. So we had Dr. Dre in our film too, and he describes it as all of these policies, like housing first policy, for instance. He calls them tombs, basically, for people to die.
Yeah.
And that's the government has blood on it because they allowed this to happen and they spent our money to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. So let me ask you within the libertarian theme, a question. That a lot of the libertarians are going to be against prohibition, right? And so, and I don't know where you stand on that one, but how do you kind of merge the two there?
What do you mean?
Merging like the idea that drugs should not be illegal,
Yeah.
but yet showcasing an individual who obviously was able to get the drugs, regardless of their legality,
right?
And it was obviously very detrimental to his life.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously a lot of different libertarian perspectives on this, including in my own organization.
Sure.
I would say I think that people should be able to do what they want. I think he was an adult. I think he needed, at the same time, I have family members that have gone through addiction and heroin addiction, and you don't have control at a certain point. And I know, talking to Jared, he needed to be put in jail. Like he said that, like I needed, and it didn't help rehabilitate him, but it just gave him 6 months sober. Where he could start to focus on gratitude and maybe some meditation. And he just needed to get the drugs out of his system, basically. So I'm conflicted on it. I don't know. I don't have a pure libertarian take. I'm not a pure libertarian. I really believe in these ideals, but and I think obviously it's, you need actual people going to caring about you, and you need help from individuals who really care about you and look at your life holistically. And that's the key for the programs that actually work. It's like they take care of the whole person. They look at trauma. They look at they're called like therapeutic communities, because you need to address trauma, you need to address the drug addiction, you need to address the stuff with the parents, you need to work on all that, and then you need to start to do job skills. There's all sorts of things, but needs to be a long program. And then you need somebody to kind of follow you after. So the idea that you can just put a homeless person into a home, and it's supposed to fix anything, it doesn't work.
No, you're absolutely right.
Hey, this is Caleb Collier with Church and State. I'm here to tell you about Hunter's Blend Coffee. I got to tell you, I absolutely love this stuff. I'm all about the dark roast. Hunter's Blend Coffee, black powder. Doesn't that just sound like deliciousness and rebellion? I got to tell you, in America, we don't drink tea. No, we drink coffee. It's the food of the gods, and I endorse and support Hunter's Blend Coffee. Got to tell you. Tastes like freedom. So I need you to go over to churchandstate.media, scroll to Hunter's Blend Coffee, and use the promo code Church and State to help support us. And when you go to huntersblendcoffee.com, not only will you be getting a great cup of coffee, but you also, if you use the promo code Church and State, be supporting Church and State and our dogged pursuit of truth. And we are back, and thank you for staying with us. You're over at churchandstate.media, and we're going to go right back to this awesome interview. But real quick, let's cover one of our awesome affiliates. And people oftentimes want to know, how do you do what you do? How are you so clever? How are you so witty? How do you always know the exact right thing to say? I have help. Don't give me that look, Chris. I get that all the time.
People actually say that?
All the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it happens all the time. Pretty much daily. Pretty much when I walk into the bathroom and I look at myself in the mirror, those are the questions that I hear as I talk to myself. But if you want to know how I get to that point, best 365 laps. Chris already knew where I was going with it. He can tell when I'm setting up talking about methylene blue, because I love this stuff. It's so good. It really is, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a game changer. And how do I know that? Because sometimes, I don't know, I'm a little busy and I forget to order it, so that there's like a week where I'm not using it. I can feel that. Oh, how I can feel that. All right, this stuff works. It's one of the best, what is that, nootropic, right? Like biohacking. Like, it is amazing. So give them a shot. Try a 30-day shot with these guys. I tell you all the time, there's a lot of garbage methylene blue out there. And for me too, like the dropper where you gotta mix it with water, this stuff tastes horrible. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you, it tastes awful. But they have tablets. The tablets are great because then you just throw them in your mouth, take a drink of water, and it's done. Sometimes it stains your tongue blue, but it's done. All right, so give them a shot. If you use the promo code Church and State, you're gonna get a discount, and you'll help support us as well. And speaking of support, hit the donate button for us. Once again, please. So important to keeping us alive, and to where I'm not just rambling to myself and Chris. Chris gets to hear all of my strange views. I got great views. They're not strange. I wish more people thought like I did. But please keep us going. Hit the donate button for us and keep us alive on so many great networks. All right, with that, let's go ahead and go back to our amazing interview. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Once again, Freedom Fest, ladies and gentlemen, if you get the opportunity to go here, you'll get to speak with people like my guests on today's episode, Amity and Sam. Great people, great ideas. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not trying to put you on the spot. I mean, I'm a minarchist, so a lot of libertarians would not call me a purist either. And there's nuances to this. And what I like about the libertarian movement is we're not afraid to say, I don't know. Like, it's never been tried, though. And the current system, we can obviously point to and say, this isn't right. So maybe, trying something a little bit new, a little bit more freedom oriented. Yeah. And then, will problems arise? Sure. And then we can work on it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's right. And obviously a lot of the issues that happened to Jared were, the government wasn't helping. Like he tells a story of going to a needle clinic, and he had always smoked heroin, but then he went to this needle clinic, and it was like he got a pamphlet on how to inject. He had never thought about it before.
It's 10 times worse.
Yeah, 23-year-old kid who never would have injected if it weren't for that government needle clinic that I went to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing, but it's kind of a sad laugh on that one because. Yeah, I mean, anybody who knows anything about drugs is going to know shooting it up is 10 times worse. So yeah, good job, government. You got this kid to start doing it the worst possible way. Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic film that I would like to see. Where can the audience go and look this up?
Yeah, we will be releasing it on YouTube soon, probably. We're doing a film festival circuit right now. We did it with Independent Institute. So they're the ones that funded it, and they hired us kind of as a production company and to produce it. So yeah, freethepeople.org is where it will be soon. It is premiering in San Francisco soon, so I think we're going to be
great location for it.
Yeah, totally.
And we focused on this. Is there any other films that people can go to the website check out as well?
Yeah, we've got lots of stuff. We just made a film on the Georgian wine, the history of Georgian wine. We flew over to the country of Georgia, and they've got a really interesting history there of kind of getting out of communism and wine being kind of this symbolic representation of freedom.
Interesting.
Because it was really suppressed during communism. So yeah, we just produced that full-length documentary. We've got a series called The Cover-Up, hosted by Matt Kibbe, which is basically like an investigative exploration of the origins of COVID. So we interviewed Senator Rand Paul, we interviewed Jay Bhattacharya, let's see, who else? Lots of other people. Trying to get to the bottom, actually.
I got to tell you, I really, really like that because we can't let that one die. Yeah. People tend to be short-sighted, short memories, and it was not all that long ago when the government said we're going to mandate everything. Yeah, we're going to mandate who you can be with, how often, wearing a mask everywhere, maybe grocery shopping, go to church. Yeah, and it was ridiculous, and it really showcased for us how willing our own government is to be completely tyrannical. So I so appreciate the fact that you are still talking about this,
Totally.
still covering it.
Yeah. Well, they cost it. So they funded the labs that created the virus. So
Exactly.
and then used it for control wars and all those terrible things
Yep.
they did. So
Yeah, exactly. And none of my stuff can go on YouTube when I talk about vaccines. I got banned before on
Yeah.
that. But yeah, and then pushing a vaccine, an experimental vaccine on us that those of us who didn't take it, we certainly don't regret not taking it.
nope. I feel pretty good about that now.
Exactly. No super cancers in me. I don't know about you. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, once again, a little bit of gallows humor there, and we're not trying to, diminish what some people went through and continue to go through, but it really is a wake up call for people. Because personally, for me, and I'd love for you to answer this, but I don't think they're done yet. I think none of it's coming.
Sure. Yeah. I would assume they keep trying out different viruses. It seems nothing's really sticking, but
Yep.
yeah, there's going to be one that has God forbid, but has a lethality of 10% or something like that. And that's going to be like a real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they just tried it with the hantavirus.
Yeah.
And we were able to cure that by just ignoring it, basically.
Yeah. Right.
But they do it every single year, or maybe every 2 years. It was the Zika, it was the swine flu. Like every couple of years, there's always some new virus that's going to kill us all, panic, and because they want to keep us in a state of fear.
Right. Totally. Yeah, they're doing weird stuff with ticks right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it all works out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
There's actually on that matter, there have been a number of people who've gotten bitten by this Lone Star tick and end up allergic to beef, which would make me want to do bad things.
Yes.
But a lot of people are actually finding cures with acupuncture to the ear specifically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
cool.
spread that around if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to live in this world without having the ability to be.
I know, what a terrible disease. What a horrible.
The worst.
Yeah. That would just be the worst.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, I've really enjoyed the conversation. Like I said, I want to have you back for a full 45 minutes post event.
Sounds good.
Really showcase the website and everything. But tell the audience once again where they can find your work.
Yeah, Free the People, freethepeople.org is where you can find all of our films. We also have a podcast called Kibbe on Liberty with Matt Kibbe. But yeah, you can see everything that we've done there. We're on Instagram, Facebook, all the places. So
all in the matrix, right?
Yeah.
You got to be. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, hey, thank you so much for stopping by. And
man.
being on the show.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So
cool. Thanks.
All right, that concludes the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I hope you've been enjoying my time at Freedom Fest. Obviously, I was very busy doing a lot of work, getting a lot of great interviews, and we got more to come. So you're going to want to continue to watch all the episodes to see great speakers from Freedom Fest. Church and State is brought to you in part by Colonial Life Spokane Independent Agents, Finders Insurance, and Mark37.com. I'm Caleb Collier. I was born for a storm.
Welcome to the fire.
This is Caleb Collier with Church and State. Are you tired of your device spying on you? Ladies and gentlemen, we live in 1984. Your phones, your tablets, your smart televisions, they all are spying on you. And this is why I heavily endorse Mark37.com. This is everything you need for your digital privacy. Phones, tablets, laptops, all of them are ghost protocoled. So that means that you are in charge of your own data. Just go to churchandstate.media, scroll over to shop, and hit mark37.com for all of your privacy needs. Make sure to use that promo code Church and State. Hey, this is Caleb Collier with the Church and State podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you to go to Galileo.com. You need to stay connected no matter what comes our way. Whether it's government intrusion or a meteor falling from the sky, Galileo has you connected. As a Marine veteran, I can tell you that communications is essential. Galileo has you connected. Whether it's worldwide coverage, uncensored content, or real-time alerts, Galileo is going to make sure that you're connected with your friends, family, and neighbors. Just head on over to churchandstate.media, scroll over to shop, and hit Galileo.com. Make sure to ask them for a free bivvy stick, and make sure to use that promo code Church and State. Hey, this is Caleb Collier, and I know you're excited for the Church and State podcast. Now, as a Christian patriot, I love precious metals, whether it's gold, silver, palladium, and of course, lead. And this is why I want you to go over to Ponderay Ballistics, don't ask me how to spell it, for all of your ammunition needs. Remember, that's Pendoreille ballistics.com for all of your ammunition needs. I want you to head on over to churchandstate.media/shop. Go to Ponderay Ballistics and have a shooting good time.